I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Breaking right now at 6:30, CBS News projects Donald Trump has secured the 270 Electoral College votes needed to become president-elect. Trump declared victory in early hours of the morning, speaking before a crowd in Florida.
Plus, a red wave in the balance of power. Both the Senate and the White House now Republican, and we're still getting results for the House of Representatives. Results in the key local elections that help influence the tipping of the scales. Good morning. On this Wednesday, November 6th, I'm Chris Raggi.
I'm Mary Calvi. Welcome to CBS News New York. Here's a look at the Electoral College map. You can see former President Trump has surpassed the 270 votes needed to win. He reached that number when Wisconsin was called just an hour ago. We're still awaiting results from a few states, but they will not impact the presidential race.
We have live team coverage of these breaking developments and the key local races tipping the balance of power in both the Senate and the House. Let's start with our own Elijah Westbrook. Elijah?
Chris and Mary, it has been a big night for Donald Trump as CBS News projects that he is heading back to the White House. Earlier this morning, Trump claimed victory in Florida before the race was even called, telling his supporters that, quote, this will be the golden age of America. Now, you can see Trump here walking out on stage with his family in front of a crowd of cheering supporters. This was around 2:30 a.m. The former president congratulated his running mate, J.D. Vance, and praised him for his willingness to speak with mainstream media outlets. Vance, in his own remarks, said he and Trump will lead the greatest economic comeback in the nation's history. Here's them speaking earlier this morning.
The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it, because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down.
We're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Now, at Vice President Kamala Harris's alma mater, Howard University, supporters grew less enthusiastic before the crowd later dispersed after a top campaign official broke the news. Harris is expected to address the nation later today from Washington, D.C., according to campaign officials. Chris and Mary, let's send it back over to you.
Elijah, thank you. We continue our team coverage now with Derek Waller.
He's live outside Trump Tower with reactions to former President Trump's victory. Derek?
And good morning from outside Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. And behind me, there are a handful of Trump supporters who are here celebrating that historic victory last night. Also, the traffic that's gone by. We've heard some honking also in celebration of that victory. Now, let's take a look at this video from overnight. We can show you what it looked like. We had a couple dozen Trump supporters out here celebrating after the former president and future president made his acceptance speech. Now, here in New York, reaction is coming in from both parties, including House GOP Conference Chairwoman Elise Stefanik of Albany, who said in part, America looks forward to President Trump's strong leadership to secure the border, grow our economy, and deliver peace through strength, she said. Now, Mayor Eric Adams sent a tweet at 1:54 a.m. before the election was called, saying, quote, no matter who wins, our administration is prepared to work with a new president to defend our city's values and ensure New York City remains the greatest city in the world. Now, the mayor's been playing coy lately, criticizing Democrats for repeating the claim by Trump's former chief of staff that he's a fascist. Now, in turn, Trump has been defending Adams, saying he was unfairly indicted. And speaking of those criminal cases, Trump himself has a court date here in Manhattan later this month for those 34 felony convictions for falsifying business records in relation to the 2020 election. A former prosecutor with the Manhattan DA's office saying overnight that it seems very unlikely that he'll actually get prison time given the election results. Reporting live here in Midtown, Derek Waller, CBS News, New York.
Doug, thank you. Taking a look at some of the CBS News national exit polls, 46% of voters said they had a favorable view of Harris. Trump came in at 42%. 2% of voters say they had favorable views of both candidates. Now, when it comes to important issues, 58% of Harris voters had the state of democracy at the top of their minds. The second issue that they're focused on was abortion, that at 22%. For Trump voters, their top issue was the economy, coming in at 49%. 21% of voters focused on immigration.
Now to some key House races in New York. On Long Island, Republican Nick LaLota has won re-election in the 1st District, and in New York's 4th, Democrat Laura Gillen is locked in a close race with Republican Congressman Anthony D'Esposito. Natalie Duddridge is live in Rockville Center, which is part of that 4th District. Natalie.
Chris, Mary, good morning. Yes, we are still monitoring these local races. And as you said, Rockville Center District 4 is where we are now, still watching some of these results come in. This district particularly, CBS News had not yet declared. However, Democrat Laura Gillen did declare victory here last night. Her opponent, however, Republican Anthony D'Esposito, has not conceded yet. This is a seat Democrats were hoping to flip, one of the most contentious races on Long Island. This is a district that has bounced from red to blue for decades. It flipped to red in 2022. Gillen actually lost this race 2 years ago by only 10,000 votes. Again, Gillen is declaring victory here. CBS still determining. Now to the 3rd District, which covers the northern half of Nassau County and a small piece of Queens. CBS declares Democrat Tom Suozzi has won, defeating former state assemblyman Mike LaPetrie. Suozzi had represented this Long Island district for 3 terms before stepping down to challenge Governor Kathy Hochul in 2022, returning to his old seat earlier this year in a special election after George Santos was expelled from Congress. And meanwhile, another race Democrats were hoping to flip but lost, the 1st congressional district stretching from the tip of Long Island to the New York City suburbs. Republican Nick LaLota declared victory over Democrat John Avlon. CBS News had yet to project a winner, but John Avlon, former CNN anchor, did concede late last night. Republicans have held this seat for the last decade, and LaLota thanked his supporters Tuesday night. Here's what he had to say.
As an officer in the world's finest Navy, I've been proud to take a number of oaths, and I took an oath 2 years ago to serve as your representative in Congress. I'm fired up to go back to Washington and take another oath to fight for you.
We fought the good fight. Not every good fight wins the first time. The good fight never ends. The good fight's perpetual, and what we're facing in Suffolk County tonight isn't the outcome we wanted. It's a hard night in Suffolk County for us Democrats. It's a hard night for many Democrats in the country. But the fight continues.
Now let's talk about another New York race, District 17, which covers all of Rockland and Putnam counties, parts of Westchester and Dutchess. CBS News has not yet projected a winner, but Republican Mike Lawler has declared victory in the race against Mondaire Jones. Jones has not yet conceded. Jones was the congressman for District 17 in 2020. That area redistricted. He then moved to Brooklyn to run there in 2022, but was unsuccessful. 2 years ago, Lawler won this seat in a stunning upset, and Republicans see holding that District 17 as keeping control of the House. Again, we continue to monitor these results for you here this morning, and that's the latest from Long Island. Natalie Duddridge, CBS News, New York.
Natalie, thank you. And this morning, the Trump campaign is celebrating their victory.
Let's go now to Tareen Small in West Palm Beach, Florida. Tareen, what's the mood there early this morning at Trump headquarters?
Yeah, Chris, Trump spoke at around 3 a.m. this morning. So following that, we saw his supporters, quite a few of them wearing red hats, in absolute jubilation. The campaign tells us that this was the result that they were expecting because of the ground game that they implemented. It was not as a traditional ground game like we saw from the Harris campaign. They had this very sophisticated network of volunteers and field offices, some dozen field offices across the battleground battleground states. The Trump campaign was really leaning on the support from what they're calling Trump fans to serve as supporters and volunteers to do door knocking. That ultimately paid off, as well as his personality. This was a matter of a sophisticated ground game versus the personality and popularity of the former president, and ultimately that helped him head across the finish line in 2024.
And you've been traveling with J.D. Vance throughout the campaign. How has it been the last few days, and what are his policy priorities as the Trump-Vance team takes over the White House in January?
Yeah, this was an interesting few 3 months to follow J.D. Vance. He came from a very short stint in the Senate and really spoke to his Appalachian roots. He would tell voters about his story of growing up, being raised by his grandmother because his mother suffered from addiction. And he spent the last 3 months really looking to personalize the ticket and introduce himself, because although he came from a very successful background, had a best-selling book that ultimately became a movie, an Oscar award-winning movie, he was still an unknown in the political world. And he was also shadowed by Donald Trump, this larger-than-life political figure. He worked to be the chief messenger on the campaign trail, preaching about the two I's, immigration and inflation, and ultimately those two issues is what resonated with voters writ large.
All right, Torian Small in West Palm Beach for us this morning. Torian, thank you.
And now let's take things over to Tony Sadiku and get your first alert forecast. Hot out there today.
Yeah, Mary, I know the election results not going to be the only thing that people are talking about. It's also going to be this warmth. You spend any amount of time outside and you want to spend more time outside. It's just an inviting feel. And despite the fact there's a cold front at our doorstep, you see the leading edge of it now, the showers moving through parts of the Ohio Valley. You know, we will watch that on approach, but ahead of it, we're heating up. Numbers approaching 80 degrees, 21 above average, feels nothing like the first week of November, instead more of a September feel. Warmest of the rest of the week. It's all driven by that southwesterly wind. Even though the humidity is not super low, it is going to be enough to keep the fire risk elevated, Chris. Red flag warnings in effect for parts of Connecticut, so that's something we certainly have to take into account.
All right. Thank you very much, Tony. Now let's get a check of your first alert traffic report with Guy Stanier. Hey, Guy.
Good morning, Chris. We're going to start in Queens. We have a crash that has at least 2 lanes closed on the westbound side of the Grand Central Parkway right near Ditmars Boulevard. Delays are back to the LIE. Taking a live look outside at the Cross Bronx, very slow traffic on the westbound side at the Alexander Hamilton Bridge. This is due to a crash on the outbound upper level of the George Washington Bridge. Very slow traffic all the way back to White Plains Road. Checking Mass Transit's Big Four, everything is running on or close to schedule for Metro North, PATH Trains, New Jersey Transit, and the LIRR. Alternate side parking is in effect today citywide. Chris and Mary, back to you.
Guy, thank you. Coming up, special election coverage continues as ballots are still being counted. 92% of the vote is in for New Jersey's 8th congressional district. CBS News projecting incumbent Democrat Rob Menendez will serve another term.
And taking a look at results for New York's 18th congressional district, Democrat Pat Ryan leading with just over 56% of the vote in at this hour.